Hello, today I'm going to talk about our new feature we've just released, which is the load patterning for live loads in our US beam calculators. So I've got here a 25-foot cantilever beam. This is just a default generic beam in ClearCalcs. And if you look, it's got a support at each end and nothing more. So in that case, you've probably designed these before, nothing really to think about. This is just a load that's going to be like this. Now, let's say instead I move my support to be at 18 feet. So all of a sudden, I've got a bit of a cantilever span here. So now you'll see the load stay the same. So we've got the load applied on the back span and on the overhang at the same time. However, we also need to consider the live load with the live load only on the overhang, which is what's going to cause the biggest deflection usually and the biggest uplift reaction at the other end of the overhang. And then we also need to consider the case where we've got the live load only on the backspan, in which case we're going to get the highest positive moment in the backspan. And so we need to consider both of these. So previously in ClearCalcs, what you'd have to do is you'd have to either create a new calculator and put all of these old versions in there or not. But now in ClearCalcs, if you scroll down, you can see we have got this beta live load patterning feature. If you click on it, you'll see why this is in beta. In particular, the load diagrams don't quite update yet. The individual live load arrangements, you won't be able to see them just yet. We're working on those features as well. And there's a small bug right now where if you've got a line load, it'll actually show up double on the diagram here on the right. Again, we're looking to fix that soon. Okay, so I've got this. Now, let's look at my maximum moment. So if I look right now, it's minus 7,850 pound-feet. Let's go now and enable this live load patterning. So you can see immediately the diagram changed. And so we kind of mentioned that about the beta features. What you're seeing now is the envelope, right? So you can see the negative moment actually kind of leaks over on this side a bit more, and the positive moment is much higher on the upper end here. So if I go look now, we were at 7,850. Oh, in this case, it doesn't change. It's 7,850. And the reason for that is because it's controlled by the overhang. Let's look at the deflection next. So if we look at the deflection, now we're at L over 483. If I disable this and I look, we're at L over 2,410. So as you can see, just considering that live load arrangement has a huge impact on deflection. So it's definitely something we need to consider. Similarly with the reactions and the shear utilization, those might change as well. For an overhang, the changes won't be that much. It really is more for the deflection. Now, let's say instead I wanted to have a continuous beam. So let's make this a 40-foot beam. And let's add a support at the end. So we'll add that length L and bearing length 3 inches. Okay, so now I've got this. So now I need to think about my load applied to the entire beam. I need to think about it applied to one span only and then to the other span only. And these are going to control for different situations. So the maximum load on everything is usually going to be what's controlling for the negative moment at the support here in the middle. And then the other spans are usually going to be what's going to control for positive moment as well as shear. So again, right now, my live load patterning is enabled. And you can see it kind of looks like a Batman thing a little bit. You've got the positive moment. You've got the envelope that moves. If I then switch this to no, the live load patterning, you can see now it's only got this. So I'll do it again so you can see the difference. The envelope kind of widens and thickens a little bit. That's because we're now considering it. So let's look again. I'm going to set this to no. You can see the envelope changes. Let's look at our moment, 16,500. Our shear, 4,270. Bearing, 8,000. And if we look at our deflection, L over 1690. So now let's go and upload this or activate this. L over 1260. The moment remains the same. This is actually not unexpected because we know that the main moment is controlled by when the tire load is considered. And then similarly with the reaction. So again, in this case, it's more about the deflection. Now let's look really quickly at what happens with a concrete beam. So with a concrete beam, we're usually designing the reinforcement for when we're going up or down, or sorry, positive and negative moment. So if I do say a 60-foot beam and I add a support at 30 feet. So you can see now I've got my positive reinforcement, so the big bars at the bottom, and then negative moment reinforcement here. And you can see here, I've got my full floor load applied over the entire span of the beam. So again, if I look, the biggest one to consider here, negative moment, 90,000 pound-feet. We know that's not going to change because that's controlled by the case with the load applied the entire length. Positive moment, however, let's look at that, 50,600. Okay, so I'm designing for this. If I now come down and activate this live load patterning, let's look, you can just look at the utilization. So we're at 23%. Activate this, it went up a little bit, right? 26%. So it's not that much of a difference. However, when you're designing very close, it is something that you want to consider. And this difference, like I said, is going to matter a lot more for deflection, especially on overhangs, cantilevers. It's definitely something that you want to consider. And with this new feature, there's no reason not to consider it because it's quite easy. You just hit the yes button here and we'll consider it for you. So that's about it for this video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you're excited as we are about this new feature that's going to save you time and get you some more accurate calculations. Let us know if you have any questions. We're available anytime. You can hit the help button right here, the little paper plane, and it'll send us a message and we'll be happy to respond to you as fast as we can. Thank you. Bye-bye.